From the Florida Today newsroom, this is the Florida Today Show.
AEDs, CPR, sudden cardiac arrest. These are the terms my guests today are all too familiar with, and they are now looking to make changes to protect student athletes on a national level. Welcome to the Florida Today Show. I'm Rob Landers, and I'm asking you to please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss content like this from Florida Today. The organization is called Who We Play For, and one of its founding members, Ernst, is no stranger to the Florida Today studio. In 2007, his friend and teammate, Rafe Maccarone, was a sophomore at Cocoa Beach Junior-Senior High School when he went into cardiac arrest as he was warming up for soccer practice. He died the next day. A heart screening likely could have caught Rafe's condition and prevented his death. Regular physical exams often miss heart conditions that would appear on an EKG. Rafe's tragedy has turned into Evan's life's work in trying to get heart screenings for as many student athletes as possible. On his journey, he met Shawn, Sima, whose own personal encounter with his daughter's sudden cardiac arrest makes him the perfect counterpart to Evan. Together, the Who We Play For team is working to get the Access to AEDs Act in memory of Rafe Maccarone passed through U.S. Congress, and they found help from the bill's sponsors, Representative Al Lawson from Jacksonville and Representative Bill Posey, whose congressional district includes much of Brevard and parts of Indian River County. I talked with Evan and Shawn about the legislation, their commitment to the cause, and what's next. Guys, thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk to you. Evan, you've been in my studio several times, as have you, Shawn, to talk about Who We Play For. And now we have the opportunity to talk about the access, I believe it's the Access to AEDs Act in memory of Rafe Maccarone going through Congress right now, right? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so on December 28th, 2021, Congressman Al Lawson from up in the Jacksonville area, along with co-sponsor Bill Posey, who's from Brevard County, where we're at, they filed the bill in honor of Rafe Maccarone, which you know is a Cocoa Beach student soccer player who passed away suddenly at Cocoa Beach High School. And so this law actually will set aside money for the Department of Health and Human Services to do grants for AEDs, for heart screens, for cardiac emergency response plans, and really anything in the sudden cardiac arrest arena for our nation's schools. Right now in our country, only 17 states have any kind of AED legislation for our nation's schools. And as you know, Rob, the number one killer on school campus is sudden cardiac arrest. The number one killer of our athletes playing sports on campus is sudden cardiac arrest. So the message is starting to spread far and wide. And finally, we have some national legislation that might happen to really change the course of a lot of lives in our country.
That's awesome, guys. Now, so while we've got some good things happening in national law, it seems like we've got maybe a loss in committee in Florida. What's going on with the Florida legislation?
So yeah, the bill in the House and the Senate have sort of stalled in Florida. We wanted to make it required for all student athletes to have an EKG before they play sports. And we have the complete buy-in from our legislative side. Representative Fred Hawkins, Representative Stan McLean, Representative Chris LaValla. And then in the Senate side, we were sponsored by Dennis Baxley. But sort of once we started moving into session, some other things came out as far as support from the medical community, and then we'll need to do some work with the insurance companies for those kids that are found to be positive on the EKG. So I think it's going to take a little bit more massaging, if you will, and getting more of the buy-in from all the parties. But I think we've done a really good job of educating our leadership. And as Representative Stan McLean said at the one committee in December, they want it to be good public policy. We want to do an implementation that's going to, it may take a little bit of time, but we'll be able to have the infrastructure set up for good EKG readings, as well as the follow-up for those kids that are found to be positive.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about you guys, and specifically, Evan. I'm going to go to you with this. So you have made this your life's work. Like this since I've known you, you've been the who we play for guy. Talk to me about Rafe and the kind of impact that he had as a teenager on you, for you to devote your life to making sure no one goes through what Rafe went through, and that no one goes through what you went through, losing a friend to sudden cardiac arrest.
So thank you again, Rob, for having us on here. It's an honor always to talk to you. And yes, this has been the life work of me and many across Brevard County and across the country. For us, growing up in our little tiny town of Cocoa Beach, watching Rafe die on the soccer field from a detectable heart condition will be burned with us until the day we die. It was the honor of our life to be close friends with Rafe, to carry his casket, and to play for him on the field after he lost his life with a 6 on our chest, which is the number that he had, that we played with for the rest of our little high school soccer careers. So Rafe opened our eyes and showed us what's behind the curtain and what exists out there. And when we realized what Rafe's life represented, thousands of kids across the nation who've been buried just like Rafe, then it's not some lightning strike, super rare, it'll never happen to my kid or friend incident, that it's the leading cause of death in sports, it's the leading cause of death in schools, and arguably it's the leading cause of death in all of children. There was a study that came out last year that showed 23,000 kids had cardiac arrest in America. So when you compare these to childhood killers, it's just absolutely mind-blowing how underfunded this effort is and how under-advocated for it is. And a big part of the problem, Rob, is that people think they're alone in this, and they don't realize what their friends, their Rafes, represent. So because of Parent Heart Watch, because of Brevard, at a really early age as teenagers, it as malleable of a moment as we could ever have. We realize that if this ends up being our life's work, then what an honor. Because at the end of the day, a generation of kids, because of Brevard County, will get to grow up. So yeah, it for sure has turned into our life's work. That wasn't what we thought initially. And it's a wild thing to be able to talk about Rafe all the time and what he meant to us and what he meant to our community.
Shawn, I'm going to switch gears here for just a second because I know, like Evan, you have a personal stake in this as well. And rather than ask you about that personal stake, I'd rather hear from someone really close to you who has her own personal stake. And I want to pull in an interview from your daughter, Lexi.
And the reason it means so much to me and my family and my dad is because actually about a year and a half ago, like I said, I suffered from sudden cardiac arrest. I've been an athlete my entire life for as long as I can remember, and I was running one day at my local gym, running on a treadmill like I've done every day of my life, and I died doing that. I died doing something that I've done every day for as long as I can remember, and I've never had any pre-existing anything. I just fell over dead. And thanks to 3 people in the back of the gym who did a program, exactly like this one, where they got their CPR certification and their AED certification, they ended up saving my life.
Okay, Shawn. So that video is obviously from several years ago, because I know that it was a lot longer ago that Lexi had her sudden cardiac arrest. What does it mean to you as a dad to hear your daughter, who is still here, thank God, talk about what she went through? What is that like for you?
I mean, the further away we get, it almost seems unreal, especially as far along as we are in this now. My daughter, my kids, like every other parent, they're my life. They are especially when they were little, were my reasons for getting out of bed. And to hear her talk after not too long, it was 6 years ago, February 2nd, my wife and I were holding hands, praying over my daughter, begging God to let her live. And to know that she's with us and she's functioning and she's graduated high school, and I've walked her down the aisle, and she's going to be going to nursing school, to be able to have those milestones after it was all taken away. There's no words. The greatest thing I ever heard my daughter say was in a news interview that we did when we passed that first policy here in Brevard County. And in that interview, she said that she wouldn't take back anything that happened to her because of all the lives that we've been able to affect and save and make a difference. I mean, our family, our group, we've passed 3 state laws. We've passed 1 national law already, and we're working on a couple more. And I'm alive. Like, I was going through life haphazardly, not really living a life. And because of what happened to her and our family, it's completely changed everything for us. And to have her here and know that I'm a medical provider, I should know better. That's what drives all of us when we get out of bed, is because Rafe Maccarone didn't get the opportunity that we got. And it's not right. It's not right. I just heard a story of the lacrosse coach at Merritt Island High School who had his life saved last week. I just spoke to all the Brevard County athletic directors, and that man was lucky enough to have an EMT as as one of his coaches. He was lucky enough to have the fire department across the street when he went down. Most people in the world don't have that opportunity. 9 out of 10 people die from sudden cardiac arrest, and God chose us. And I take that responsibility, and my daughter takes that responsibility. And these guys, that we take it, it's our responsibility. And I know I'm giving a long answer, but that's really how I feel. I know what it's like to go to the edge and almost lose your kid to something that's unfathomable. It would be easier for a cop to knock on a door and say your daughter was in a bad car crash. But to get a call and say, yeah, your daughter dropped dead because of a heart problem when she was an elite athlete her whole life with no medical problems, and then I'm looking at her dead on a gym floor. There's nothing that can prepare you for that. And when I get tired and I get weary, I go back to that in my brain, like, no, we got to keep going. We've got to teach the world and give every parent a chance to have what we have. And I'm so proud of my daughter. She's owned it. She's got out of that bed, and her dad made her do probably a lot of things that she didn't want to do. But, her being the big, tall, what we call ourselves Beauty and the Beast, she opens the door, and then I get in and start tearing stuff up. So, long answer to a short question as usual.
That's okay. I'll take the long answers. Okay, guys. So, what is next? So we talked about the bill before Congress. We talked about the legislation kind of tied up in committee in the Florida legislature. What is next for you guys? Where are you focusing now to try and get legislation passed to try and save more lives?
Shawn, jump in after this, but Next, I think, is we stay the course and finish the job in the state of Florida, and that's make it a standard of care in every Florida school district to have an ECG at the very least before you play sports. It should be for every kid, but at the very least, it's recommended in the fine print. And the highest risk group, the student athletes, need to have an ECG to make the sports physical actually effective in detecting heart conditions. But we all know what you've heard a million times, providers like this, Shawn's a PA, when they do a sports physical, they're going to miss 96+% of heart conditions, whereas an ECG will catch 90 to 95%. So it's a standard of care in other countries. You heard it a million times, Rob. It's a standard of care if you go to a federal penitentiary. It's a standard of care if you go to Florida State to play anything or any other big college, or you go in the Olympics. And eventually, in the not too distant future, it'll be a standard of care for the entire state of Florida. We have 30% of Florida sports requiring this right now. 9 school districts representing 30% of the population of student athletes in Florida. So we're not far off. We'll keep growing this snowball until eventually it's a statewide either law from the legislators, in-house adoption from the FHSAA if they want to lead on this, or one district at a time. But so far, it's been really impressive to see the people who keep showing up to support this from across the state of Florida who lived it and who are on this team with us, and to work with some of the most incredible school board members in the nation.
Yeah, I second what he said. My goal one day when I go to my grave is to have that on my tombstone, help change the standard of care in the United States. What we have going on right now is we're working with Brevard County School Board and some of the other school boards throughout the state to implement cardiac emergency response plans, which are basically fire drills for medical emergencies. As Evan said, the number one killer on campus is not guns, it's not fires. And I'm fully in support of everything that we do for those things. But the number one killer gets not one drill. We were able to pass a law a couple of years ago called the Zach Martin Act, where now when kids are out playing sports with the school, whether it be summer drills, regular games, that there's a coach there that knows CPR and that there's an AED present everywhere. And the next step is, being that Florida is one of the only states in the nation that doesn't have athletic trainers, a lot of this falls on the coaches, is to have cardiac emergency response plans 2 to 3 times a year, where it's a practice drill and there's no, messing around when somebody's kid goes down or a teacher goes down. 1 in 25 schools has this coming every single year. When somebody goes down, you have 3 to 5 minutes to do something. The average response in the nation is 7 to 14 minutes for emergency services. So we have to be ready. We have to know what to look for. We have to know where the AED is, and we can't be afraid to use it. We are now, as Who We Play For, able to place AEDs in schools. And part of our program with Who We Play For is to place AEDs at the bottom line price, but also to take the money that we get for the AEDs and invest it back into the Who We Play For programs in those counties. We have kids that can't afford the $20. And we do that through grants and busting our butts to raise money. As Evan said, we have incredible partners that partner with us, but we would like to make the schools much safer and then use whatever we can get for those to deliver heart screenings for our kids and add one more layer for those. And the legislature, it always comes down to money. This is one of the ways we're going to work around that. It comes down to infrastructure. We've got it built. We've been having meeting after meeting with children's hospitals throughout the state. We have all the questions answered. Now we have to pull the trigger and protect our kids in this state. This is a build it and they will come. And Who We Play For and several other, groups throughout the country has proven that. But it starts right here in Brevard County. This is the safest county in the nation.
Okay, so how do individuals contribute to the cause?
I guess I'll go this one.
I don't want to talk the whole time.
Yeah, if anybody's seeing this and they want to join the Who We Play For team and family, or if they want to contribute to this mission we're on, please reach out to whoweplayfor.org. Of course, we'll take every single dollar we can possibly raise. We're kids from middle-class America. We're not that good at fundraising, but we take everything we can get and we put it towards covering the kids who can't afford to be screened. Our program costs $20. Our Who We Play For heart screening program, any kid that can't afford that $20 fills out a one-page grant form. We'll never turn a kid away, and we're constantly trying to fundraise to cover the kids of Florida and beyond. So if you're interested in getting involved, whether it's bringing a heart screening program to an athletic program you work with, or to your doctor's office, or to donate or volunteer, please reach out to us through social at Who We Play For, or our website, whoweplayfor.org.
My thanks to Shawn and Evan for joining me today. If you'd like more information about Who We Play For, or you'd like to contribute to the organization, please visit whoweplayfor.org. If you have questions about the Florida Today show, you can always reach out to me at rlanders@gannett.com, or find me on Twitter at @ByRobLanders. That's it for this episode of the Florida Today show. Thanks for watching.